guys? All right, so we're getting ready to do our live Q&A as promised. I had some really, really great questions and a lot of things I'll be addressing that, um, you know, people had asked me to share. So I'm going to get right into it. I've never really done a live Q&A, so I'm kind of excited about this. I'm kind of excited about it because I think a lot of the things that are being addressed today, especially with the coronavirus happening and like the economic market being very different and things being very different than they've ever been before, that it's very important that we step outside the box and think outside of ourselves, and that we do something that would challenge us to grow. And so that's what we're doing. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to do some growth exercises and hopefully answer a lot of really good questions. Okay, so let's get to the first question. Okay, how do I get started as a speaker? I figure I would start with something very easy because then I'd give myself a little mini win. Okay, so how to get started as a speaker? There are so many different ways to be able to get started as a professional speaker. And the number one way is to just start by acknowledging what it is that you really want, and then deciding your why. Like, why do you want to do it? Is it that you just love the profession? Do you want to be able to kind of step outside of it? So getting started is as simple as getting in front of an audience and, you know, having your first conversation. And I say a conversation because it's not really about a keynote. It's not about just kind of talking at people, but a conversation with other people. You could get a mentor. A lot of people talk about, you know, getting a mentor and start working on your message. But it's as simple as coming up with a introduction, a body, and a conclusion. It's that simple. Put something together that makes sense when you're able to now connect and speak to audiences, and knowing your audience and having those things in mind, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So getting started as a speaker really starts with you and you deciding what it is that you want to be able to impart on other people. It's not a coaching program. It's not that someone's going to give you this very simple roadmap. It's really starting with you and you being able to connect with other people. I think that was a really great question. Someone asked me, in addition to that, which is a great segue, why did I become a speaker? I became a speaker when I was 15, and that's when I first started like professionally training and working and doing all that kind of good stuff. And it was really, really great. It was an eye-opening experience, but I think I became a speaker originally because I thought that the world needed more people like the mentor that I was working with at the time. And to think that young people don't have anyone who has a positive message that is showing them that they can go out and do great things and all that kind of good stuff. So that's kind of why I did it. Why you want to become a public speaker is totally different. It might be because you have a story or something powerful that you want to share or impact with other people, and they need to know what you have going on. Greater than that, sometimes we think that we're the only people that have the problem, and a lot of different people go through things similar to what you're going through, so your message could transform their lives. I wanted to help other young people when I was 15, and then growing up I wanted to help other adults that were going through things similar to what I was going through. And then I found in that journey that helping other people was really cathartic. It was super helpful for me. Like, I felt good helping to transform other people's lives. I felt good about making them feel good about themselves, and I just loved it. I loved it. So that's why I became a speaker, and how to become one. So now, here's 5 things you can do. I do want to go back to that because I always like to give an actionable step. 5 things you can do to become a speaker. This is actually from Inc. magazine. I believe in stating your sources. Obviously, I have a doctorate, so I've done a lot of research and a lot of work. So I like to always state a source. It's not just coming out of my head. It's like, what are people saying? What are things going on in the industry, et cetera, et cetera. So public speaking can do wonders, not only for other people, but also for yourself. And you want to be able to teach and drive a return on investment. So 5 things you can do. Driving a return on investment is super, super important because you don't want to just leave an audience inspired. You want to leave them being able to take action from what you said. So when you're on the map, on the roadmap, or on your road to becoming a professional speaker, you want to look at how can you drive a return on investment. So I always set up some type of metrics, some type of baseline to say that when I came and I spoke and I impacted an audience, there was a difference. Like, where did they start? And so a baseline can be anything. It could be conversions of sales when I deal with sales organizations and sales teams. So if they've been having like plateaued numbers, I look at different ways to be creative for the organization to drive an ROI. So when I come in the door, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make a difference in this organization. Well, how can you do that? I first asked the organization, what are some challenges and things that you guys are having? Oh, well, we've been doing growth, but we feel like our profitability is kind of stagnant. So then I find different ways to shift the perspective of thinking of, okay, we're stagnant to, we've been at this position, now let's move up to another position. So there's that. 2, gain experience in your community. That's a really, really great way to become a public speaker, is really having a voice in your community about the different issues you have going on. Right now, more than ever, people need a voice of hope, and they need people who have actionable solutions to their problem during this time of COVID-19. So make sure that you have an actionable solution to what's going on, and that gives you a position of authority because you have answers and they have questions. So answer their questions, solve their problems. And by also being involved with your community, it's a great feeling of like social contribution. So as a speaker, it's like your responsibility to be a leading voice of hope. And I know it seems trending that people are looking, but people are really looking for hope right now. And even hopeless situations where they may think, you know what, my time has passed, I can't get started, you know, it's too late in life or whatever. It's never too late for you to get started. And as a speaker and on your journey, you can show people that by starting where you are today. You can volunteer at industry conferences. This is a really, really great way to get to know other people in the industry. So when I first started speaking, I went to a couple different conferences. I met some incredible people. And I remember thinking at 15 years old, I'm 15. Who wants to hear from me? I'm in a room with like multimillionaires. They're all winning. I'm not winning. Who would want to hear anything I had going on? I mean, yeah, I was good at school and all that other kind of stuff, but like, how was I going to impact anyone? And so I kind of got into a spirit of service, and I say get into a spirit of service, volunteer to help out speakers that you might admire so that you can learn from them, and not learn from them in a way of like, hey, how do I do this and this and this? But no, learn to observe. Observe what's going on. How do the sales teams work? How do they do fulfillment? How do they set up their conferences? What are some things that they're missing, right, that I could make better? How can I serve? How can I add value? Those are all like different key things that you can do on your journey to becoming a public speaker so that your business is tight by helping other people's business be tight. So volunteering is a great way to get in the door, especially if you, are dealing with different financial challenges. In business, the greatest way to start anything is by getting other people to invest in you and with you, not using your personal monies and exhausting your personal monies to be able to get to where you're trying to go. So I say take a step back. Hey, can I set up chairs? Can I help to clean off tables? Can I set out your notebooks and things for you? Can I put some pens and things out? Do you need any help with the welcome experience for your attendees? Those are all different ways that over the years, over the past 16 years, I have grown as not only a speaker, but also a servant leader. And so being able to be a leader is not just about what you want to say, but also helping other people get their messages and things out. So volunteering at other conferences, volunteering with other speakers, being a part of other people's tribes is a great way to start to build your own tribe, because you'll learn what you liked about being a part of their tribe, what you didn't like, what are some things you would have done different, and then you have some mass and insight on what it's like to really scale a major organization. I have worked with brand new speakers. I have worked with, industry titans. And the one thing that remains the same between the industry titan and the new guy is the fact that everybody's got a message that they want to get out. How they get it out, how they set up their marketing machine and all those things might vary. But at the end of the day, it's just a person, right? It's a person that might be newer to the industry and a person that's been doing it for a very long time. So just time will get you there. You can email event organizers. So this is really, really a good thing. Not an email like a salesy pitch email, but an email that's customized to an event organizer. Research some of your favorite events. For example, let's say Essence. Essence Festival just got canceled, unfortunately, due to COVID-19. But Essence is always something I've always like really wanted to go to, and all that kind of good stuff. And Essence is just phenomenal. Everyone knows like about Essence Festival. Well, they have different breakout sessions and things for speakers, and they have people come in and they feature them and all this kind of stuff. So you could email the organizers of Essence and say, hey, I'm really interested in coming. This is my one sheet, which I'll give you guys some samples of one sheets. I'll go over one sheets on my new YouTube channel, The Speaker Pro. Make sure you go and subscribe. I'll get some samples of a one sheet. You can send them your demo reel. I can show you some demo / sizzle reel. I'll give you guys some examples of that. But you send them that and you let them know who you are. But before you do anything else, I think the number one mistake that a lot of people make when emailing event organizers and meeting planners is they want to talk about themselves. Right? This is who I am, and this is, you know, what I bring to the table. And they don't really care as much about that. And I'm going to have some meeting planners on my YouTube so that they can tell you themselves. This is not me. This is surveys over the years when I've spoken to meeting planners and I've done, you know, business with event organizers. What they're looking for is people that are going to create impact in what they have going on. So if you don't even know what they have going on and you don't know anything about Essence Fest and you're not in love with the brand, then you're not going to do it justice on their stage from their perception. So get to know the brands that you want to speak on their stages, contact them. Easy way to look up different emails. You can use a tool. Here's a major key. Write this down. There's something called Salesforce. Salesforce is a great way to get actual emails for industry titans and event organizers and major companies, especially in advertising. You guys know I used to work in advertising. One way to get the main guys' information is using platforms like Salesforce. Also calling and looking on their websites. These guys. This is all stuff that I've done over the years that has helped me to be super successful. It was just kind of the grit and grime kind of stuff. Is I would go onto the website, I would look in the credits of the different projects that I wanted to be a part of, and I would find the person's name, and then I would find them on LinkedIn, and I would figure it out, and I would locate them, and I would look at what was important to them, and then when I finally got a chance to speak to them, I spoke to them directly about what was important to them and how I could help them to solve that problem, or I could add value to what they were doing, not how they could add value to what I was doing. And that allowed me to become, again, someone more with a spirit of service instead of someone saying, hey, hire me, pay me. All right, the next thing, and I think this is the most powerful thing I'm going to leave you guys with on this, for that question on how do I become a speaker, is gather testimonials and speaking examples. So I talked a little bit about demo reels and sizzle reels. Those might show you on stage or a piece of your presentation. One of the key things that I love about sizzle reels and demo reels is it gives people a chance to get to know you without ever having a conversation with you. It adds credibility with your brand and to your brand that may not have been there already, because it allows people to see you as you want them to see you. Now, how you see yourself and how other people see you are different things, right? We all know that. But when we connect with people and we start to sell ourselves, not how we currently are, but how we want the world to see ourselves, then it allows us to be opened up on another stage. So making money as a speaker really starts with people seeing you as an authority, and a sizzle reel and a demo reel can help you to do that. On my YouTube channel, I am going to break down the science of a powerful sizzle reel, a powerful demo reel. You guys know I've been doing this over a decade, and I have found some of the most powerful tips and tricks that I have used with industry titans and motivational gurus to leverage their position even further. I've done it for the best and the brightest, and now I want to do it with you. So make sure that, again, when you're sending over samples of your work, that you're showing them the person that you're going to bring to their organization to help to leverage and add value to what they have going on. All right? So, in addition to that, gather testimonials. I'm also going to send some samples of different testimonials and things that I have gotten over the years. Testimonials are a great way for people to get to know what you have to. Hi Michelle, how are you? Testimonials are a really great way for people and meeting planners and different organizers to know how you impacted an audience. So as a professional speaker, when you come in, they're not just hiring you to look cute on their stage and, you know, leave just like, okay, wow, that was really inspiring, right? Or, hey, hi, all the way from India. I love it. I love it. They're not hiring you really to just talk about something or get a command message. You guys know I was in the military. So it's not about delivering command messages. It's about creating change. And so as an agent of change, there are so many different ways that you can connect with individuals, and that their impact, or the impact that you've created on them, that they can share in a quick testimonial about what it was like to connect with you. I'm going to share some testimonials from some of my audience from across the world. I have testimonials from people in Dubai, and people from Poland, and people from South Africa, and people from England, and people, I mean, I have testimonials from everywhere I've gone. And so that shows a meeting planner, that shows an organizer, hey, wow, this person has a global message. See, I might be the typecast of my own individuality, right? So I'm an African American female, right? How can I connect with someone, or a female from Dubai, or a man from Dubai, or from Saudi Arabia, or any of those things? Well, when you have mastered your message, and you've mastered being able to connect with audiences, it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter, you know, where you're from. It doesn't matter about your economic background. It doesn't matter what language you speak. I've spoken to audiences that did not speak English before. Yeah, I've talked to audiences that have not spoken any English, and I had to speak through a translator, which is super hard. I've been on radio stations in Spain and in Amsterdam and in the Netherlands, and it doesn't matter what you look like. If you want to be a professional speaker, what matters is how you connect with other people. And if you can connect with other people, you can kill the game. It doesn't matter if you don't have professional training, or you didn't go to college, or any of those things. If you want to make money as a speaker, connect with people, and then get those people to share you. Get those people to do testimonials for you, to talk about how you impacted them. And even though you guys might be totally different, like you might be from two totally different backgrounds, talk about the one thread that connected you together. The fact that you're a human being, and every human being has a message. Every human being has had a struggle. Your struggle may not have been their struggle. However, it is an opportunity to bridge a gap and to create a greater community. So hopefully that answers your question. James sent me that one, so hopefully that answers your question. I'll do a quick recap. So 1, be able to teach on stage and create a return on investment for the audience. 2, gain experience in your community. 3, volunteer at industry conferences so that you can get more industry connections. 4, email event organizers and get connected with the people who are actually writing the checks and who can actually book you. And then 5, gather testimonials and get speaker examples, sizzle reels, and demo reels, and all that kind of good stuff. So I'm going to go into more detail, like I said, on all those different things more as I evolve this channel and I evolve the YouTube. So you guys will have that as well. Okay, so the next question I had was, this question is from Tiara, and her question is, how do you set your rate as a speaker? That's a good question. I was going to say that one to the end, but I feel like, let's get to the money. Like, why not? So how do you set your rates as a speaker? Setting your rates as a speaker can be very tricky. It can be very tricky. So people will say, okay, well, you know, you should ask the client, what's your budget, right? Because you don't want to undercut yourself, and then you don't want to be too high, and then they think they can't afford you. So I think that is an option. It is an option. However, I don't know if it's the best option. In my experience, I have not found that asking people what's their budget best served me or my business, right? Because just because their budget may be at XYZ, it might not meet you where you need to be so that it makes sense for you to do the business. However, there's a caveat. Here's the trick. Let's say your speaker fee is, let's start basic, at $1,000. You charge $1,000 for a keynote, right? And an organization reaches out to you and they say, hey, we're looking for a speaker. Can you send us over your information and let us know your rates? And you say, hey, I'm really interested in getting to know you. Now, if you're a newer speaker, this is a different different game from someone who's been in the game for a while. But I'm going to go over both. I'm going to go over both ways, okay? The first way, if you're just getting started as a speaker and you want to get some experience, a great way to start to set your speaker rates is asking the question about budget, but making sure that it makes sense for you. And if there isn't a budget, how can you make something out of nothing, right? How can you make an investment speech? I don't believe in free speeches. If you're a professional and you're in the professional business, it's not about being free. It's about creating an opportunity, not just for yourself, but also for other speakers and to be able to grow your brand. So it's an investment speech. It's not a free speech. Okay, so the first thing is you'll ask, hi, I'm Jane Smith. I'm looking for a speaker. Oh, wonderful. That's exactly what I do, Jane Smith. Can you send us over your information? Absolutely, I can send it over. Can I ask you, Jane? Of course. What's your budget? What are you guys looking at? Well, now, some people will tell you straight out, well, our budget is $3,000. Now, if you were going to say $1,000, you're in there, right? $3,000 it is. That's my new rate. Now, but if Jane Smith is saying, well, we don't really have a budget. We don't know. We've never hired a speaker before. We don't know what to expect. Okay, that's a good way to go at it. I think that I want to make sure that I'm best serving your needs. So if you would send over what you guys are looking for, then I can craft something and put it together for you. So now, let's say Jane Smith didn't say that their budget for a speaker is $3,000. Let's say that she said the budget for the speaker was $500. If the budget was $500 and your speaker fee is $1,000 as a new speaker, then how do you bridge the gap? Right? Because you don't want to lose the opportunity. You're a new speaker. You want to get your name out there and you want to connect, right? I've done it 1,000,001 times. Great. So now it's $500. So I get $500 to be able to go over here. My keynote's an hour. Okay, what else can you do? You can be creative. What do I mean? Glad you guys asked. So you can be creative. So if Jane Smith says our budget is $500 for a speaker, we've never had one before, we just want you to come in and motivate our staff and so on and so forth. So say, okay, great, Jane. I'm definitely interested in working with you guys, but what else do you guys need? You see the caveat? It wasn't about just settling for what was going on there. It's how do you bridge that gap between the 500 and the 1,000 so that, again, you are doing your business justice. So, well, I'm not quite sure. We've been doing this and we've done a little bit of that over the years, but we're not quite sure about what to do. Most new clients that don't hire speakers often have no idea what to tell you because this is the first time they're trying to do it. And they're wanting to connect with you because they know the power of what a professional speaker, a motivational speaker, a trained professional can do and what value you add to their organization. But if you don't know your own value, then that's something totally different. So setting your fees have to do with your own limitations in your mind, and getting outside of the box is the best way to do that. How do you get outside the box as a speaker? Okay, your speaker fee is $1,000. I know you guys are like, girl, get to it. All right, so your speaker fee is $1,000. Jane Smith only has $500. Great. What can you do? Well, Jane, tell me a little bit about your training programs. What are some things that you offer to your staff? Okay, so Jane's speaker budget for the event may have been $500, but did you ask them about what training they do? Maybe you could add training as a part of this new contract as you're building this new relationship. Well, our budget for training, well, I'm not quite sure. I don't really deal with that in that department. Well, Jane, what is some training that you guys do with your staff? Because it's great having someone to come and keynote. I love keynoting. I love coming to speak to audiences, but I found what's even more powerful is following up, is having training that allows people to get the tools in detail how to break things down. I have an online training course that I would love to gift to your company for every employee. I would love to gift that to your company at a discounted rate. Normally for organizations, we'll charge an annual fee of about $3,000. What I would love to do for you guys is I'd love to gift this to your organization at a discounted rate for $1,500. In addition to that, I'll do a second keynote for your organization. And in that keynote, I will talk about the results of winning. Come up with something. So that is how this works. I'm sorry, guys. I'm on mommy duties. At the same time, Kyra, here you go. Enjoy your applesauce there. So that's how you do it. It's that simple. That's how people leverage. So maybe the keynote amount wasn't enough, was maybe 500, right? But you can build a relationship and you can add value at no additional cost to you. If you create an online course, it took you one time to create that course. It was one investment of time and effort and energy, and now it lives on your online platform, which I'll go more into that. I did get some questions about online courses, but you can add value to an organization simply by thinking outside the box. Yes, maybe their speaker budget was 500, but you don't know how much their training budget will be. And if you set metrics in place and you get baselines and you have things and you track your success, you can show how, as a professional speaker, when you come into an organization, not only do you add value, not only do you rile the troops and get everyone excited, but you produce results. You increase a return on their investment. You did that. I've done it in marketing. Ways I've done it in marketing is I would look at and I would analyze their website, right? And I'll look at how much website traffic they get before my company comes in. And when my company comes in, when Movis Media comes in and we make changes and we get things going and we get things operational, we get them optimized, we can show how we've doubled their number of new patients or we've tripled those numbers. My numbers speak for themselves. So having that in place will help you. But when you set your fee is 100% about you and what you bring to the table. And just because a company may not have the budget that you're looking for, they may not have, $10,000 to give you right now, you can add additional perceived value for them and they'll be willing to give you more because they're getting more or they're perceiving that they're getting more. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, so for Jimmy Richard, Jimmy asked this question, how do you start, speak? Like, how do you just get out of your own head and be able to speak? Because he's really shy. One way you can do it is by practicing in the mirror, but the next way you can do it is with these kinds of events, like lives. You can do live videos about what you have going on and share your story and share your message and share your process daily and get people's feedback. And so as you get feedback and the more you do it, it's like a muscle. The more you work that muscle, the stronger that muscle becomes. It's muscle memory. So at one point, you'll be able to get on a stage and kill it, hands down, no thought needed, because you'll be able to connect with people that you never thought you could connect with because you practice so much, because you're speaking so much, so clearly, so precisely, your message is so focused, laser focused, that it helps them to be able to go to another level. So that's really solid. Okay, what should I have in my speaker contract? Okay, this is a good one. I am not an attorney. I do not specialize in contract law. However, I do have an attorney. However, I do have plenty of contracts that I've executed over the years. So I can give you some insights on what I had in my speaker contract, and then you see what works for you. I think I'll also do a video on YouTube about that in the next coming weeks. So make sure you guys are subscribed so you can get all that information more in detail, and possibly have an attorney on so they can talk a little bit more about deliverables in that sense. You want to have in there making sure that you're clear on the expectations for whatever the event is, the name of the event, who your contact is. You want to have your terms of payment. As a speaker, terms of payment is super, super important. I require 30 days before an event, 50%. The week of the event, especially if I'm traveling, the other 50%. I do not wait until after the event to get paid. Look. I'm like, do not do it. Do not do it. Make sure that, again, if you're comfortable with the organization, then just making sure that your funds are transferred in the day that you're going to speak. Once you speak, that is the product. Once you deliver the product, sometimes people, don't have the same incentive to make sure you get your coins. So just make sure that you have that in your contract, your payment terms and stipulations, whatever it is that you're comfortable with. You can request 30% up front and the other 70% after. Make sure that you have in there if there's inclement weather or any of those things that may stop an event or keep you from going to an event, that you have those things detailed in there. Making sure that your payment is clear, I think, is the number one thing that you must do. You must do. And then going back to how you set your fees, if you have in there the ability to sell in the back of the room, If you're a pro speaker, you already know selling in the back of the room is a great way to increase your income. So selling in the back of the room might include a book, a workshop, a training program, an online course, whatever, or even a live event, right? So back of the room sales are an opportunity for you as a speaker, which I would negotiate in every room that I speak in to make sure that I could sell my books, that I could sell my programs, or whatever that is. Now, some people may have a couple, depending on where you're speaking, a couple different caveats or requests, I guess, for how you make that deal, and everything's negotiable. So they may say, okay, yes, you can sell in the back of the room, but we want 50%. Okay, right? So they want 50% of everything that you sell. So you may have your team that comes with you, and they want 50%, so you give them the 50% and yours. Just make sure you've done your numbers and you're profitable on it. Back of the room sales, great opportunity, great way to be able to have an additional revenue stream when you do a live event. In addition to that, in the contract, make sure that you spell out your deliverables. So if you were supposed to do anything else other than just get on stage and keynote, you want to spell that out in the contract, and then make sure that they were delivered, agreed on appropriately, and then make sure that you have all of your email correspondence from start to finish. In addition to that, travel. Travel is a big one. Make sure that you have your travel spelled out in your contract. So if your travel is going to be included in your fee, then that's fine. You know, you don't really need to spell that out. But if it's not included in your fee, then make sure, especially if you're doing things at a discounted rate, make sure that the client understands that they need to cover those expenses. So you may say, okay, I live in Miami, and the client is in New York, right? So the client would have to cover the costs of my flight plus my assistant. Never just one flight, always you and someone else, because someone has to help you with your back of the room sales. Everything loops back together. Someone has to help you with your back of the room sales. Someone has to make sure that you help, that you know that someone's having your back, and then two, they need to record you. Every presentation needs to be recorded. There's a question in here about that. I'll get to that one next. But please make sure that it's a flight. It could be first class that you require. I don't know. It could be regular coach. It is completely up to you on what you like and what you desire. So put that in your contract. You just let them know outright, hey, my speaker fee is $5,000 for the keynote. If we do a meet and greet, or you want to do like a VIP dinner or any of those things, a la carte, that fee is $1,000. It's up to you, plus all of the food and beverages that we consume to also be covered. Transportation from the airport to the hotel, to the host hotel. Is the client responsible for that, or are you going to Uber? It's completely up to you. Do you need a car sent for you? It's completely up to you. In addition to that, luggage fees. These are all things to think about, because speaking is a business. So if there's a fee for your luggage, who's covering that, right? Now, if you don't want other people booking your travel, which I highly recommend that you book your own travel, then you just say, in the contract, we book our own travel. We do require a $1,500 stipend, which is to be paid at whenever you want it to be paid, right? 15 days before travel or at the time of booking, so that you can book your flight and all that kind of good stuff. This is a speaker hack. This is a huge speaker hack, whether you travel or you don't travel. If you've had travel canceled during COVID-19, then you know that things can get like crazy, right? As a speaker, your schedule is always crazy. Like it's always constantly changing. Events, may have booked you and then they switch it up last minute or whatever it is. Speaker hack, one I've learned. Whenever I book with airlines like Southwest, name dropping them because I love them. I book with Southwest because no matter when I cancel, I still have a year to use those travel funds. So if a client cancels something or anything, those fees are non-refundable. But if I've already booked the ticket, I can cancel and I still have a year to use the travel. That's on you. This is all different things, again, that you can stipulate in your contract. Finally, I'm forgetting something, and I know it's gonna come to me, but the payment terms is the big one. So as long as your payment terms are good, guys. you're good. And then making sure that your travel is covered, your hotel is covered, all of those things are spelled out. I don't like to spring things on clients. In the beginning, I didn't have those things spelled out. It cost me a lot of money, because if I already discounted my speaker rate, and then, like, say I was speaking for the Chamber of Commerce in California and I had to pay for my own travel from Miami to California, that ate up the entire profit because I'm flying myself in. So make sure that you calculate those things in and that you spell it out to the client. If you tell them in advance, it is an explanation. If you tell them after the fact, is an excuse, and people don't like excuses. Alrighty? So they're already making a huge investment with you as their speaker. So now, I think I touched on this one a little bit, but I do want to hit this question about filming, okay? So how do you get the footage for your sizzle reel? You can do, which we've done in the past, you can do, you can hire a professional and do your own shoot and hit multiple locations, or you can gather footage from your different speaking engagements, your investment speeches. Remember, we don't believe in free speeches, but your investment presentations, as well as your paid presentations, have them edited together, get some really nice B-roll, nice lower thirds, and then having the key messages you want them to know about you right front and center. Okay, that's a great way to do that. And your second in command, whomever that's going to be, you definitely cannot do it alone. You need a second in command. You need someone to set up a camera, make sure they're getting your angles and getting your engagement and interactions. I think that's the number one mistake a lot of speakers make when they first start out. They do not document when they're speaking. They do not document how many audiences they connect with. And so they may have a ton of experience, but they never recorded it. They never documented it. So document everything you can. And the way you can create a really great sizzle reel is by having clips of you. Clips of you like in the airport and connecting with the client meetings if they don't mind. I will have on that video, that YouTube video, which is coming up on the content calendar, I will have samples. Excuse me, guys. Sorry. I will have samples of, I will have samples of the testimonial / video release form, which will allow you to use the video wherever. So make sure you always get a video release form done. Again, I am not an attorney. This is just my experience. I would have any documents or any samples I send to you guys of things that we use at Movis Media, things that I've used over the years, have them reviewed by your attorney, and then get them branded with your stuff and make sure that everyone utilizes it when they are recording you or recording any of your clients, and so on and so forth. Okay, so the next one is, okay, so the next question that I have here is about, do I need a website? Do you need a website? Yes and no. You don't really need a website. I think what you need is just something that you can send over to people. You can do a website now if you want to say, you know what, I'm going to start out and I want to set something up. Do the most cost-effective thing for you. You do not need a fancy top-tier sales funnel website. You don't need that to get started. What you need to get started is just having your information and your message clear, precise, and in a very easy way for people to get it. So you could do like a virtual card, or you could go to a website similar to GoDaddy. You can use the website builders, do something basic, put a coming soon, put your resume, put a one sheet, put a nice picture, and that's it. That's all you need. And then we loop back around, make sure you have 3 to 5 testimonials. A good, sweet number for testimonials in your business is a minimum of 3. 3 to 5 is a sweet number, okay? People don't look too much before or after that. And then you want testimonials to be 30 seconds to a minute of the most powerful, impactful words that people have to say about you. They don't need an essay. Most people aren't going to watch that. They're going to watch the first couple seconds. They're going to look at the person. They're going to see, oh, does that person apply to me? Which is the next question here. Hopefully I answered the website question. It's up to you. With Facebook and Instagram and all these things today, it makes it a lot easier for you not to have a website. Websites do make you look more professional, and you can put specific information that you want the world to know about you on there. So I recommend doing it, but don't do it too high, and don't make it a major priority to starting your business. Kickstart your business and get going. Use that money to leverage and help to build up your website to however you want it. Do not spend money you do not have. Do not spend money you do not have. Do not spend money that you have not made in this business for this business, because you will exhaust yourself. And I've seen it time and time again where people have great logos and they take forever to get, you know, designs done and all these different things. And meanwhile, they're not making any money as a speaker. And it's like really putting a strain on their relationships, on their home, on their kids, and all that kind of good stuff. Okay. So sweet spots with testimonials. As I said, 3 to 5 testimonials, and you want them of people from different backgrounds. As I said earlier, I have testimonials from people from all over the world. Get testimonials from people who do not necessarily look like you. Do not allow yourself to get put in a box. People automatically do it. It's a psychological thing. They're automatically going to say, you know what? She just speaks to young, you know, African-American girls or young black girls. Like, that's her thing. No, when they see I've spoken for Fortune 500 companies and I've worked with these different organizations, and they look at the testimonials from all of these people who are male, female, light, dark, orange, green, when they see all of that, it allows them to get outside the box of, I'm not sure if she's right for our audience, to, oh my gosh, how diverse. We're a diverse organization, or even if we're an organization that is like one type of individual, this person still can talk to them. Don't allow yourself now, here's the second part of that, don't get stuck in a box and think you can't connect with other organizations. Working with companies and organizations that were all men or all one race, or like, I just can't even, or even all women, but all women that were totally different from me, and being able to connect with them and have a relationship with them and being able to serve them was major. But I could only do that because I wasn't stuck inside my own head, and I wasn't worried about, oh, well, are they going to like this? Or they're going to, no, they're going to love you. They're going to absolutely love you. They're waiting on you. Your diversity and your difference is what makes you special. Everyone has something. Use that, leverage that on any stage, and do not just go after organizations that you think might like you. Go after organizations that you like, that you love, organizations you know you can add an impact to. And when you go to those organizations, no matter what you look like, when your message is so strong, they will absolutely love and adore you, and you will love yourself for pushing yourself to that next level. So in your speaking business, do not stereotype. Do not think, oh, okay, this, because those people that you may have stereotyped and said, hey, they won't purchase what I have to offer, those will be the ones that pay you the biggest bucks. Facts. 1000% facts. Okay, so the next question that I had that came in, still going through questions, guys. They're still like coming in. The next really cool question that came in that I absolutely love is, drum roll. No, you know what? I'm going to do that one last. Okay, so how do you prepare for a speech? Everyone's different. I am not a coach. I'm not a speaker coach at all. I've never seen that as my strong suit, so I'm going to tell you guys straight up. But it's an easy thing. I did do a video on like some super easy ways to kill any presentation, but since I'm not a speaker coach, I recommend getting a speaker coach to work with you on your message. You may have an incredible message, but if you don't know how to properly craft that message to connect with audiences, you may give them too much or not enough. And what do I mean? Okay, so if you had something really crazy that happened to you, right? You want to touch on it, but you don't want to dive in too deep to where you leave people in the depths of thinking about that incident. You want them to think about the overcoming that you made happen. So how I prepare for any presentation to make sure that I don't get caught up in myself or what I'm trying to say is I first start with what is the problem that an organization is facing, or what is the problem that my client is facing. If you're doing one-on-one coaching or one-on-one consulting, it's the same thing. What are they facing? And the only way you're going to find that out is if you ask questions. So I recommend that you get a questionnaire. I can do like a sample questionnaire. You want to ask them, okay, so tell me what's going on in your life. Get to know your subject or your audience. Get to know them. And once you get to know them and you know what's going on, they're going to tell you a problem. They're going to tell you a problem. Once they tell you the problem, preparing for the speech becomes super easy because your sole focus is solving their problem. The person who solves the most problems wins. Somebody told me that once, and I like it just rang true and rang true and rang true. The person who solves the most problems in business wins. And as a speaker, it's your job to solve their problems, not just make them feel good. Help them to solve a problem, and that will give you staying power. That's what makes organizations call you back over and over and over again. It doesn't matter how many times they've seen you. They will absolutely love and adore you, and they want you to come back. Why? Because you keep solving their problems. Oh my gosh, we've been stuck, and our team is just not working together. You get their team to work together, you get them to team build, you get them to have a good time, you get them talking to each other because you're an outside perspective, and you win. So I prepare for any presentation that I do by first connecting with the individuals and finding out what is it that they need. Once I know what they need, I can run it from there. So just know that's a really, really, really big opportunity for you to prepare. Be prepared by knowing your audience and knowing what they need, and just solve their problems. Super simple, super simple. Alrighty, so the next thing is, do you have to use humor when you're speaking? I make this face because I'm not funny. I've never been funny. I'm never going to be funny. A lot of my counterparts are hilarious. I have rehearsed jokes. I have tried jokes. It is not me. I am not a jokey person. It's not me. I think that laughter connects people in such a great way. So yes, you want to be funny while you're speaking, but you got to do it your way, because you don't want to come off cheesy either. And if it's not really you, like if you're not like a laughy person, then it's going to be kind of awkward. And I say awkward because I have been in various awkward situations as a speaker because I am not funny. I'm not. Like, it's not my personality. I'm a drill sergeant, very much so. I can be very serious. I'm very results oriented. These are all things that describe me. No one has ever described me as funny. Never. So you can work on things to make yourself funny or to make jokes and things. Just make sure that they're organic to you. Because if you've ever seen a presentation where someone who isn't really funny tries to be funny, it just makes the audience cringe. Like, they look around like, really? And so you don't save yourself the embarrassment, right? Test it on a couple people first. Come up with some things. Come up with some, just like a comedian, come up with some stuff. Test it on your friends and family. Test it on people who will give you some honest feedback before you take it on stage, because I've seen it go both ways. I've seen people rolling out of their chairs and, you were so hilarious and I loved you so much. And I've seen people also shut down completely. So it's a delicate balance. I don't try to be funny on stage because I know my strengths. So that part is completely up to you. Alrighty, so should I use a PowerPoint when I speak? It is, again, completely up to you. But I will say this. There is a thing called death by PowerPoint, and we've seen those, where people set up a PowerPoint and they're reading from the PowerPoint the entire time, and they make no eye contact, and you're my audience and I never look at you once, and I'm so busy trying to get through the information I can't connect with you. Those presentations are the most forgettable and unforgettable. People never forget how terrible you were on stage. I have had a few incidences myself where I was not the best. So again, I'm talking to you guys from experience. This is now 16 years in, and I never get stuck with the PowerPoint situation. At best, my recommendation for my clients is no more than 10 slides. And on the 10 slides, no more than 2 sentences. That's just my rule of thumb. I think everybody has a different rule. It may work for you, but when it comes from here and it's not just rehearsed, but it's something that is really connected with your audience, then the PowerPoint becomes less of a crutch for you. So putting up powerful imagery that will connect with the audience is a really great opportunity for you to be able to keep them engaged instead of it being a weapon of disengagement. So it's completely up to you. If you use a PowerPoint, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you go in before the day starts and test your PowerPoint with the audio-visual people. There is nothing worse than your PowerPoint not being able to come up when you're on stage and you're fumbling around trying to get that done, because those powerful, precious seconds are the first impressions with your audience, and it's the fastest way for them to disengage with you. So if you are going to use a PowerPoint, make sure that it's tested. If you use a video inside of your PowerPoint, Make sure that you test the audio with the audio visual people before you're on stage. When you get on stage and again you're fumbling around or they're fumbling around and they're trying to figure out, people are now, especially if it's a tough crowd, they're doing one of these. Yeah, so right, because I didn't want to be here anyway. I can't stand them. I don't even know why they're investing money in this. They should pay me to be here because, I'm just tired of this organization. And look at little Sarah. Isn't she great? And so they're doing that. And it's super distracting, and it can, hold on, someone's telling me about my audio. And it can really detract from you and make you kind of sad in the middle of speaking because your audience is looking at pictures of their kids or their grandkids and, oh, look at my husband, and oh, isn't Cairo the most adorable, beautiful little boy? I just love him so much. And so when your audience is doing that, like, nothing can deflate the air out of your balloon like an audience that's disengaged. So if you're using PowerPoint, I don't say once in a while. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I'll have it up if it's available. Meeting planners will ask. It's also something you want to make sure you have in your contract spelled out. If you have special audio requirements or visual requirements and that kind of good stuff. So again, it's up to you. Let's see. Okay. How do you close out? Like, what's the best way to close out a presentation? Oh, this goes well with this other question that says, what's the best way to start a presentation? Okay, let's switch this up. I'll do that one. Best way to start a presentation is hopping right in. When you get on stage and you say, hey guys, my name is Dr. Candice, and I'm here to talk to you about going big or going home. Womp womp. Right, because you're spending precious moments, especially if you have a limited time, talking about what you're going to talk about. Just start talking about it. It's a great way to start. Just start talking about it. Some people start their presentations with like a quote, right? And they may say, my favorite book says that we should walk by faith and not by sight. And in this organization, I walk in this room and I feel a faith that is unquestionable. Because of what you guys have invested, because of what you've been doing, you've been making a massive difference in the world. And so you blah, blah, blah. And then you go into your stuff. You go into your spiel. Another great way to start a presentation is with silence. Is with silence and connecting with the audience with a low, slow tone. So if all day it's been this, right? Everyone's used to this tempo. So by adjusting a tempo when you're speaking, you can draw the audience into you. You can draw them into what you're saying. They say you can walk by faith and not by sight. And although during this time of unprecedented uncertainty in our nation, I have faith that this country is going to bounce back like it's never before. I have faith that the lessons we're learning during this season are going to allow us to flourish in ways. I have faith that the seeds planted in these moments will be the fruit that our children's eat tomorrow. Boom. Different ways to start. So however you start your presentation, starting your presentation with, hi, I'm Dr. Candice. A little bit about me. So I have my doctorate in business and I've just traveled the world with so many different people. That's another terrible way to start a presentation, is talking about yourself. I'm going to talk about you, talk about them. Great way to start a presentation. Started with emotion, started with engagement, started with changing the tempo and tone of the room. Started by calling on someone in the audience. Hi, Jane. Jane's going to be like, what? So I met Jane in the elevator and Jane was telling me, and so you can go into there. Millions of great ways to start. Just the two worst ways to start any presentation is 1, talking about what you're going to talk about, and 2, talking about yourself. Let whoever introduced you or sizzle reel video or whatever, let that do that. And when you get on stage, just start killing it. Best ways to end a presentation is to bring it back together. A good recap on what was going on is a really, really great way to engage with your audience. So you could say, And so it's really important to make sure that we're connecting with people, that when we walk by faith and not by sight, that it means more than just words, that we're putting it into action, that we're implementing, that we're making a difference. And that you, Sarah, and you, John, and you, James, and connect with the people in the room, right? And then leap it all back, that your faith is what will take this organization to the next level, that your works will be the difference. And so you can neatly tie it off with that. You can also close out a presentation and leave the organization after you've done your recap with a question. So what are you going to do? How will you make the difference? How is it that Sarah and James and John and Christian, how is it that they're going to show up to this organization, not only with faith, but willing to put in the works to make a difference? So those are great ways. The tie-up is the best way. Just bringing it together, finding a way to engage with your organization and the audience, and then making sure that you have recapped everything and capsulized everything you talked about over your presentation. That leads me to the next question, which I think was a really, really, really good one. How long should your presentation be? Okay, your presentation's length is 100% up to you. It's 100% up to you. An organization, when they're hiring you, they may say, hey, you have an hour. Hey, you have a half hour. Hey, you've got 15 minutes. Hey, you've got 5 minutes. They vary. And so depending on how much time you have will depend on how you position your presentation, and then what you put first in the beginning, the middle, and the end. They vary. Oftentimes the meeting planner or the organizer may ask you how much time that you need. And then there's just this other half that may say, hey, we got a slot for an hour. And so they want to put you in for an hour. Okay, so the next question I have is, what types of speaking engagements are the best? It's a two-part question. What types of speaking engagements are the best? And then the second part is, I don't understand this part. Okay, what speaking engagements are the best? And I think they're trying to ask, what would I recommend? Okay, so I think any speaking engagement opportunity is the best for you. Anyone, anything that you can expose yourself and expose your message to, I think that it's great. The best way to be able to do it is by making sure that you document different things out, and that you're accessible but not too accessible, if that makes sense. That you're positioning yourself to, maybe you say, okay, I'm gonna do 4 investment speeches or free speeches. For those who are new to the live, investment speeches are speeches that may not have a fee that's attached to them, but how you can make that work for you is by negotiating. There's no bad opportunities. Anytime someone wants to expose you to an audience and you're blessed enough for people to want to listen to what you have to say, it's just making sure that it makes sense for you and thinking outside the box. I don't think there's a best way. So there are different types of speaking events. I'll go over the top 3, and then I think that may help with solving this question. Okay, so the first one is an investment speech, which is like free, right? The next one is pay to play, where there's a stage where there might be like a big audience and you pay the organizer or promoter to be on the stage. I have never done a pay to play type of presentation, but I know that they are common, and I know a lot of people who have done them, and I will try to connect with a couple of my colleagues who have done pay to play organization events. Pay to play is really, I think, common when it comes to different when you go to speaking events with other speakers. So for example, if it's like a motivation mass overhaul where there's a lot of speakers, and so they may charge you a fee to come and speak on their stage because they've done the promotions for you, they've done the marketing, they have the people in the room, they built everything. And so you may pay your own travel, everything to come, but the opportunity is that you get exposure to their audience. And I'm not sure if you guys have seen any of those, but if you Google it, they're there, pay to play. Then there's get paid to play. So people pay you to come and connect with their audience and those types of things. A lot of people are trying to go into the get paid to play space. So someone asked, okay, Josh asked, how do you go from a free speaker to a paid to play speaker? Or how do you, he said paid, but I say paid to play speaker. The best way to do that is by being able to, one, have proof that you've spoken in front of multiple audiences. So if you're a new speaker, the best way that you can start getting paid to play is by giving people a perception that you speak often. So make it a business and not just a hobby. You can connect with different organizations that you can do investment. And I would take organizations that you're like really, really excited about, and like you can have a level of passion about what they have going on. So for example, veterans is something that I'm really passionate about. I've done things with the Department of Veterans Affairs and I didn't charge them anything. And the reason I did that is because I love veterans. I'm a veteran. I know how hard it can be if you don't have a support system. I know what it means to be a veteran, and I also know what it means to serve my country. So that's super important to me. That's always going to be something that's near and dear to my heart. So I would use those different audiences and document it with my second person, whoever's filming me or whatever, so that I can create a really great sizzle reel. That's, I would say, the first way to be able to get more people to start investing with you. The next thing that you can do to start to get paid engagements is to start rebranding yourself as like a professional speaker. This doesn't have to be a $20,000 investment. This is not a $60,000 investment. You don't have to join any clubs or any of that to get to that level. All you need to do is start to position yourself. So you could get a $11.99 for the first year domain name off of any website like GoDaddy. You could do a website builder. The first 30 days is free. And then after that, you might pay like $20 a month or whatever, and put your information in there and then start to send it out and connect with different people. You could start engaging with organizations that you want to be able to provide service for. I mean, how can you sell me something, or how can you change my organization if you don't know anything about my organization? Prove them wrong. Show them how much you know about not only their organization, but about the landscape, the business landscape, and how that works and how that makes sense. Okay. So that's another really, really great way. Going from a paid speaker to like that next level of like a celebrity speaker, or a speaker that's getting paid $15,000 to $25,000 an hour. It's not really that complicated. It's just, if you connect with the right audience, it's that simple. It's finding the organizations that can afford what you have to offer and still being able to serve. You can still serve other ones, but you can have a higher offering. And if you have a higher offering, then you can vibrate those things to yourself. I believe in manifestation. And I remember the first time I got my first paid speaking event. And again, I only like to speak from experience or any research and data that I have that I present with you guys. I'm not just talking out of air. When I did my first speaking event, I made $3,000, and I got $1,500 up front, and the other $1,500 I got a week before, and my flight was paid for, my hotel was paid for. I did travel alone at that time because of my contract. Originally, it was just travel for me. I didn't have a team. I wasn't big balling and moving around, and I was figuring it out. However, I did invest with a coach, and my coach is the one that taught me how to get that fee. And so my first paid fee was $3,000, and then it just went up from there. And the only way I was able to do that was because I had someone that knew the business. So finding people that know the business will help you to be able to set your fees comfortably and confidently. Keys. Comfortably and confident. You want to be confident, and you want your client, your new client, to be confident with you, because the client doesn't know the difference. And 9 times out of 10, they hire speakers all the time. And trust me, speaker fees can range. I know speakers that make $100,000 plus an hour, and I know speakers that make nothing an hour. So, hi Lisa. Hi Lisa, how are you? Hi Brandy. Like looking at who's on here. Tell me hi if you're on here. Tell me hi so I can say hi back, because I can't see everything, but I can see when you guys make a comment. See it scrolling up. So getting a coach that knows how to set fees and set rates and that knows the industry, that was one of my nails. I cannot believe that just popped off. Anyways, COVID-19. So So that's a really, really great way for you guys. Really, really, really great way to get started and get going in the speaking business. Hi, Mar. In the speaking business, because there's just oh my gosh, there's so many things to know, but I think having a good community of other speakers that are professional speakers will help you. It's not just about you being the smartest person in the room, it's getting in the room with smarter people. So that's, hey, so that you can keep growing your business, okay? I like this live thing. Should I do this more? I should do something. I'm going to try to do different lives and stuff, maybe every Thursday at noon. That nail is gone, and you saw she just keeps it going. Yeah, it might be really cool to do live Q&As. I'm kind of going through everything that's been in my inbox, so I'm gonna get to your question if you're there. Alrighty, so let's see. Okay. Do you focus on storytelling when you're speaking, using your own personal experiences? That's a good question. If you've ever heard me speak, I may touch on my own personal story slightly. It's not a major part of my presentations, but I do touch on my own story. And I do have a lot more emotion than I originally did when I first started speaking. When I first started speaking, when I first started speaking, it was I was a broadcaster. So I was a military broadcaster from my career, and I kind of carried that on over stage. And so one of my good friends, Dr. Ruben West, told me, he was like, you're a different person on stage than you are off stage. And so I had to learn how to check myself and stop going into this news reporter person and start to be more connectable while I was on stage. So I do use my personal stories. I do not tell my personal business. I don't recommend going into major details while you're on stage, because again, the presentation is not about you. It's about how you can impact others and how you're able to help the organization or whomever you're talking to, not your own personal soapbox. So it's a happy balance. I think that having someone who knows how to connect messages and bring things together and has a strategy behind the presentation is so critical. It is so critical. It will help you so much, because at the end of the day, if you don't know how to put it all together, it's like baking a cake without knowing the amounts for the ingredients. You may end up with like a floury mess. So instead of doing that, have someone who can help you to better weave and organize your story. Okay, so finally, around this question, this is one I said I would save for last. This is going to be the last one for this session. This question says, what should be my first product? Should it be a book, or should it be a video, or should it be an online course, or should I do an event? This is going to 100% depend on where you are in your business, okay? And so I'm not going to share their name, but it depends on where you are in your business. So if you are at a place to where you have a tribe already and you have people that are ready to purchase your product, what I would recommend highly is that you pre-sell your products before you actually produce them. What do I mean by this? Okay, this is, I don't know. This is very critical. This is really important. It's really important that you that you pre-sell and you launch and you do a soft launch before you put a lot of money into a product, into a book, into an anthology, into anything, to make sure that you have someone to buy it. I don't know how else to put that. It's basic business. This business is like any other business. If you take your time and you invest into creating something that no one wants, then you're going to be upset because no one is purchasing it, and you're going to have like a garage or a storage unit full of like books and DVDs and all this other kind of stuff that people didn't ask for because no one wanted to purchase that. So how I would position that is I would look at pre-selling, creating what I wanted to create, and then pre-selling it. If it's not selling before you've invested thousands of dollars in it, then it's probably not going to sell after you do it. So make sure that you take the opportunity and you leverage today's marketplace and you do some pre-sales. And if you do pre-sales, for example, if they do a pre-sale and they say, hey, if you buy this item today, you're going to get a one-on-one consultation with me, or you're going to be invited to an exclusive event that I'm going to host, a launch that I'm going to host, or you could say, you can join me on a free webinar where I'm going to give away these different tips and tricks and activities and all that kind of good stuff. So it's up to you. But the most powerful thing you can do is to pre-sale, because before you exhaust your time, your money, and your resources, make sure that you have a market for what it is that you have to offer.